Hi everyone, we should be live. Welcome to the episode 20 of the music theory, sorry, music theory for guitarists live streaming. I'm pulling up the live stream on another device while I wait for you to join me live. And this is to check that the audio has a good quality. Yeah, seems all right. So there should not be any return in the audio and also no problems with the sync. Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. I'm open to any kind of questions tonight about music theory for guitarists, especially if you've been following my previous episodes of this series. You know that this has been quite a long series, a full music theory course. Yeah, it's been a long journey. This started in the middle of lockdown, and I'm using the past tense because this is supposed to be the last and final class of this course. I had a lot of fun making these videos and live streaming every week for 20 weeks. Okay, this is the episode 20, which means 20 weeks. Hey, Leo. Great. Fantastic having you on board even tonight. And so tonight we're going to talk about blues. And I felt like I wanted to finish this music theory for guitarists course with live streamings every week with a final one about the blues. We're not going to play, the blues. We're going to play a few examples, but we're going to mainly explain the theory behind the blues, okay? Understanding the different types of blues so that you guys can play a shuffle blues, you can play a slow blues, you can play a minor blues, a jazz blues, and trying to understand how to use all of the theory concepts that we went over in the past few weeks together, well, in the past 20 weeks together, really, and see how we can apply them, okay, to something real, to something practical like the blues. Let me know if everything is all right when you hear me, if you hear me right, if you see me right. And as always, feel free to ask any questions in the live chat. And if you are watching the replay instead, feel free to leave any questions in the comment box below. As always, if you want to show your support, feel free to use the super chat and leave a like to this video. It's really important for the algorithm. If you like this video, you help me reaching out more people that might be interested in finding out more about music theory for guitarists, okay? Like every music theory for guitarists live stream, we are going to have a series, okay, of topics to talk about tonight. And the first one is really an introduction. And it's an introduction to the blues as a form. So when we talk about blues, we talk about a few cliches, a few things that as soon as you hear them, they immediately sound blues to most people, okay? If I play something like... even a few notes like this, I guess that this immediately sounds quite bluesy, right? And this is what we are going to find out tonight. We're going to find out what it is that really makes the blues something that you can recognize. No matter where you're from, what's your background, you're going to recognize this as a language, okay? And the vocabulary behind it, okay? If I play phrases like... okay, this kind of stuff. So let's introduce the blues as a form. And when I mean a form, I mean a specific amount of bars, okay? In music, we do find, in contemporary music, in modern music, we do find several forms, like the song is one of these forms contained in the American Songbook. You also have the rhythm changes, which is a structure based on 32 bars. But when we talk about blues, we talk about a specific structure which goes over 12 bars. So there is no blues, there is no such a thing as a blues chord progression if you don't have the 12 bars, okay? This doesn't mean, obviously, that any chord progression which contains 12 bars is going to be a blues. Only a specific series of chords, that's what a chord progression is, over the 12 bars will give you that blues feel, the blues form. Okay, so first of all, the unique thing about the blues is the form. Okay, the 12 bars, where you find in these 12 bars specific chords. Most of the times people associate dominant 7 chords things like that, which is what we are going to find out tonight. So the number one thing to keep in mind throughout the entire live stream tonight is the 12 bar structure. Okay, that's what we really care about. And now we are ready to introduce, basically the first type of blues, which is the major blues. It's the one that everybody knows, and it's the one that I was playing right now. I see that there are a few comments. Stay there. I'm gonna come back to your questions in a minute, and we're gonna have a chat. And this is the final live stream of this series of this music theory for guitarists. I might do other live streamings about music theory in the future. If you guys have a request, feel free to leave them in the live chat or in the comments. But for now, this is going to be the final chapter of this course. Okay, so we're going to have a chat, and feel free to leave any questions in the live chat. I'm going to get back to them in a minute. So when we talk about the major blues in this 12-bar blues structure, we talk about dominant 7th chords. Okay, originally they used to be like just major chords. Okay, but in what most people associate to the word blues, we actually have dominant 7th chords. And if you guys followed the previous episodes of this series, you know that a dominant 7 chords means a major chord with the -7, getting something like this. So this chord that I'm playing is an A7. Okay. This will be considered to be the first degree of a blues. Okay, although we know from the harmonization of the major and minor scales that on the first degree you either find a major 7 or a -7th chord, we consider this to be the first degree. So when we say there is a blues in A, the first chord will be an A7. Okay, we're talking about the major blues. The classic blues would go through other structures later on tonight. So this first degree, dominant 7th, so if you write it with the numeral system, you will use the 1 in capital letters because it's a major chord with the number 7 next to it to say that it's a dominant 7, so 1-7, goes on usually for 4 bars. Let's assume that we count them in 4/4. We're going to have like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then we move to the 4th degree. Okay, the 4th degree is still dominant 7th, and again we're not expecting to find a dominant 7th on the 4th degree, but this is how the blues goes like. Okay, and when we do that, if we are in the key of A, for example, you find the 4th degree just underneath, so it's going to be a D7, which you play for 2 bars this time, and these are going to be the bars 5 and 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then on bars 7 and 8, you come back to the 1st degree dominant 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, the last 4 bars of the blues are usually called the turnaround. Okay, and here is where most variations will kick in, but we go now through the most common turnaround that you find in the blues, which is going to be the 5th degree in this dominant 7, okay, but we would expect the 5th degree to be dominant 7. If we are in the key of A, we're talking about E7, and we play E7 for 1 bar, 3, 4, D7 for another bar, so 4th degree, back to the 1st degree for 1 bar, and then on the 12th and last bar, to start again the blues as a loop, we go back usually to the 5th degree again. Okay, so let's say this chord progression once more, and we play it while we say it. We're going to have 1st degree for 4 bars, 3 and 4, 2nd bar, 3rd, 4th, then 4th degree for 2 bars, back to the 1st degree for another 2 bars, then you go to the 5th degree for 1 bar, 4th degree for another bar, 1st degree for 1 bar, and 5th degree on the last one, ready to start again, okay? Now, this is the most common structure. It's the structure that you find in classic blues songs like, I don't know, Sweet Home Chicago, for example, something that everybody knows. And this is the structure that you find it. Even if you don't really play all of these 7th chords, so you sometimes play only power chords, as we will see in the shuffle structure, playing around with the 6th and the 7th degree and things like that. But it doesn't really matter the way you play it. You might even just play a few, you know, if you're playing an E7, you could play little phrases. It doesn't really matter. It's just the structure which matters, the harmony, the chords that you use in the 12-bar structure. Okay. Now, which ones are the most common variations? Because we have to see many structures, we try to kick in immediately what is the main and most common way of playing it and the variations that you find for it. Now, I would like to talk about 2 main variations, really. One variation happens on the 2nd bar, where you find an anticipation of the 4th degree. Instead of playing basically the 1st degree for 4 bars, you play it for 1 bar only, then you go to the 4th degree for another bar, and then you continue on bar 3 and 4, still with the 1st degree. Okay. If you do so, the first 8 bars, for example, sound like 1st degree, 4th, back to the 1st, 4th, and back to the 1st. Okay. Then what happens in the turnaround? It happens that sometimes, you know, as well as you could stay on the 1st degree for the last 2 bars, you could instead having, you know, the 5th degree on the 12th, as we played before, or you might, for example, find a different chord progression going on the 11th and 12th bar. You might find a 1-4-1-5. Now, if we do so, the last 4 bars of the blues would be like 5th degree, 4th degree, then 1st, 4th, 1st, 5th. Okay, that's one way of ending the blues. That would be a turnaround. Okay, 1, 4, 1, 5. 1 and 4 would be in the bar 11, 1 and 5 in the bar 12. Now, if we apply both these 2 variations, the classic blues that we are going through in the key of A, just to keep things simple, just using 3 chords, it's the 3-chord blues that everybody talks about. It's made by A7, any form you like of the A7, then D7 and E7, okay? And if I apply both these variations, check this out. It's gonna be like 1st degree, 4th, back to the 1st, and then the 4th again, back to the 1st. Now the interesting turnaround, okay? 3, 4, 5th, 4th, and now 1st, 4th, 1st, 5th, before coming back to the 1, all right? So that's a cool way of playing the blues and going over the major blues structure, the most common one, and a few variations. Now we're gonna start talking about the minor blues, which changed the mood drastically. I again want to tell you guys, thank you for joining tonight. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the live chat so that we can talk about them in a few minutes. And if you haven't done it yet, make sure to like this live streaming. And if you feel like supporting this channel, you can do so through the super chat. Okay. Now that said, let's start talking about the minor blues. The minor blues is another structure in 12 bars where the main thing about it is that we replace the dominant 7th chords with minor 7th chords. Okay, when we play minor 7th chords will be more of, you know, a sad mood. So imagine like replacing this with something like this. It definitely sounds more minor. Okay, so the number one thing is we kind of follow the same structure, but we replace the dominant 7 chords with -7. Hey, Ronnie, how you doing? So that's something important to keep in mind to understand how the mood changes in the minor blues. If you want an example of a fantastic minor blues that you can hear to understand this structure, go and check out The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King. That's my favorite minor blues. Obviously, there are many more. You find some in the real book as well if you are into jazz music, or simply check out some funk classic, like, for example, Long Train Running by the Doobie Brothers, which is a minor blues in 12 bars. That would be an interesting one to play. So if you want to have a listen to The Thrill Is Gone, The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King is played in B minor. So it's going to be like... this kind of mood, you know. We'll go over the chords in a minute. Then turn around. Okay. Or if you have in mind Long Train Running is in G minor, so it's going to be like... etc. I've talked about Long Train Running briefly in my latest video that went out last Tuesday on the channel. It's about funk guitar. It's about a trick that you find in funk music when you use a -7th chord and you move between the -7th of the chord and the major 13th. If you haven't watched it, make sure to do so looking at my channel, and you'll find it on as my latest video. Now, going back to the minor blues structure, if we are in the key of A, the first chord will be now an A-7. Okay. The next chord, the 4th degree, will be the 4th minor, so the D-7 this time. Okay. And then you come back to A-7. Okay. Pretty much the structure would be either, you know, you play 4 bars of 1st degree, then you play 2 bars of 4th and 2 bars of 1st degree, or instead you could do 1st degree, 4th in the 2nd bar, 1st degree on the 3rd and the 4th. Then you go to the 4th for the next 2 bars, like we did in the major blues, and back to the 1st for the next 2 bars. And this would cover the first 8. Now, the turnaround is where the things really change in the minor blues. Now, instead of having the classic 5, 4, 1, or maybe the 5, 4, and then the mini turnaround 1, 4, 1, 5 that we played before, we're going to find the 6th degree major 7. Now let's try to understand this chord, because this is actually the trickiest chord to understand. Let's say that we are in the key of A minor, that would be F major 7. Now, when you play this major 7 chords, why is it major 7? Because if you harmonize a minor scale on the 6th degree, you find a major 7th degree. Okay, that's the Legion chord, guys, if you followed my previous videos of this live streaming series. So if the A-7 is the 1 minor, the D-7 is the 4 minor, the 6th degree is F major 7. Now, it's not enough if we say just the 6th degree is a major 7 chord. We need to say the minor 6th degree, which doesn't mean that the chord is minor. In fact, the chord is major 7th. It means that the scale contains the minor 6th degree. We did go through this when we were talking about the minor scales, and we were saying, for example, the A minor scale goes like root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6th. It's on this degree, the minor 6th degree, that you build up the major 7th chord at the beginning of the turnaround of a minor blues. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. If you guys have doubts, go check out the previous episodes of this series. You find the chapters at the bottom and within each video, so that you can check out the harmonization of the minor scale if you need to review that, or simply the degrees that you find in the natural minor scale. So once we say that the first chord is the flat 6 major 2nd major 7, which you can find, which you can write with a flat symbol, the 6 in capital letters, Roman numerals, and then the major 7. That's the first chord of your turnaround. You move then to the 5th chord, which is usually a minor 7 when you harmonize the scale, but in this case it becomes a dominant 7th most of the times. Okay. And this creates that tensions, that 5-1, okay, typical of any chord progression, but specifically in the turnaround of a minor blues, like That's the 5, the secondary dominant, if you want, of the 1 minor that we are going to, okay? And that's where we can stay for the next 2 bars, okay? So one example of turnaround in a minor blues structure is 6th degree, major 7, 5th degree, dominant 7th, 1st degree, minor 7. Then you can stay here for 2 bars, or you can go back to the 5th degree for the last bar. So if I go through the entire 12 bars of A minor blues, this could be in the key of A minor, A minor 7, D minor 7, and back to A minor 7. Then D minor 7 for another 2 bars, and back to A minor 7. Now our turnaround: F major 7, E7, and A minor 7. And then you start again. Okay, this is a classic turnaround. What are some variations that we could find in the minor blues? I usually say the minor blues has more of a jazz vibe somehow, even when it's not jazz. We'll see what a jazz blues is in a minute, and it's another structure, and it's more major. But the minor feels like it has more variations typical of jazz music. What do I mean by that? I mean, for example, that instead of finding this 6th, 5th, 1, 5th, okay, that we find in some turnarounds of blues, you might find a 2-5-1, a simple 2-5-1 in the key of A minor, which would be 2, B minor 7, flat 5, half diminished chord, E7, maybe flat 9 if you want, back to A minor. Now, if we do so, and we still keep the variation on the second bar with the 4th degree, the 12th bar blues in A minor blues with this turnaround 2-5-1 goes like this: A minor 7, D minor 7, A minor 7, again D minor 7, and then A minor 7. Now turn around: B half diminished, E7 flat 9, A minor 7, and if you want, as always, an E7 flat 9 or 5th degree on the 12th bar. Okay, that's, I mean, we can't talk about all of the possible variations in one live streaming which tries to cover everything about the blues, but I can tell you that these 2 turnarounds are the most common: 6, flat 6 major 7, 5th dominant 7, 1 minor, or 2-5-1 minor. We talked about the 2-5-1 minor in one of the previous live streamings, so go and check it out if you haven't done it yet, or if you are unsure about these chords, some of these chords. That's what we find most of the times. There are other variations, but we are not going through them tonight, okay? That said, let's talk about the third and final structure that we need to know in blues, which is going to be the jazz blues. Now, when I say the jazz blues, I don't mean like a blues progression that has a little bit of a jazz vibe. I mean that, but I mean a specific chord progression of 12 bars, similar to the major one that we talked about before, but with more chords, which make it definitely jazzier. Okay, let's see what I mean by that. Well, for example, let's change key this time. Okay, we move from A to B flat, so we'll be now playing in the key of B flat, and this is because most jazz blues structures and songs that you find will be in the key of B flat. So this could actually help you. Okay, like for example, Alice Blues. I'm thinking about something by Charlie Parker. Because this could help you understand better the degrees that you find in these songs. So the first degree is now a B flat 7, because we said it's more similar to a classic major blues, so it uses dominant 7 chords. Now, you play this usually for 1 bar, you don't stay very long here, and you move on to the 4th degree on bar 2. We did find this as an option before in the major blues structure. So it's B flat 7 for 1 bar, and E flat 7 for another bar, then back to B flat 7 for bar number 3. Now, instead of staying here for the bar number 4, you prepare a 2-5 of the chord that comes next in the bar number 5. In the bar number 5, you still find E flat 7. So what is the 2-5 of E flat? It's going to be F minus 7, B flat 7. This creates a mini 2-5 of E flat 7. It's the same concept as the secondary dominant. I'll leave some link in the description below that you can check out after this live streaming. But it's applied now to a 2-5 instead of just a 5 to go to E flat 7. So this is F minus 7, which is the 2 of the 4. And B flat 7 this time is not the 1 anymore. It's the 5 of the 4, the secondary dominant of the 4. So these first 5 bars of the jazz blues become B flat 7, E flat 7, B flat 7, then F minor, B flat 7, E flat 7. Okay, what do you find? And here is very interesting. I love this next chord coming up in bar number 6. You find a diminished 7th chord, very jazzy, but also very R&B, right? And you find this as a sharp 4 diminished 7th in bar number 6 as a passing chord, okay, to go where? To basically go to back to the 1st degree, okay, which I'm playing now as a second inversion just to keep a chromatic movement between the 4th degree, the sharp 4 diminished 7th, and the 5th on the bass, but we are talking about a first degree, B flat 7. This is the same as this, just in second inversion. Okay, you can go back here if you like. That's up to you. Okay, after this dominant 7th chord, well, diminished 7th chord, which could be seen as the extension of our flat 7, a 7 flat 9 chord, but that's not the case here. It's a sharp 4 diminished 7th, really. Okay, now let's see the first 7 bars so far. B flat 7, E flat 7, B flat 7, F minus 7, B flat 7, E flat 7, E diminished 7th, B flat 7 over F if you like, then 6th degree dominant 7, G7. Now, this is going to be the bar number 8, and the reason why I play this is something that you understand if you look at the bar number 9. The bar number 9 introduces a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat. So the 2 will be C minus 7, the 5 will be F7. In order to go to this 2, which starts the 2-5-1, I want to play the secondary dominant of this 2. And the secondary dominant, it's going to be G7. So I play G7 as a tension to go to C minus 7. So you can think of this G7 as either the 5 of the 2, secondary dominant of the 2, or you can think of it as the 6th degree in the key of B flat, okay, dominant 7th. So you write a 6 in capital letters with the number 7 to say dominant 7. From here, C minus 7 in bar 9 is the 2nd degree, F7 in bar 10 is the 5th degree, and then in the last 2 bars, 11th and 12th of the jazz blues, you find usually a classic turnaround with any possible variation and chord substitution that you can find in a turnaround. We talked about this last week, so go and check out the variations of the turnarounds in the episode 19 of this series. So the turnaround would be 1, 6, 2, 5. They could be played all as dominant 7 chords, or they could be played as 1 dominant 7, 6 dominant 7, that's the secondary dominant again, 2 minus 7, and 5 dominant 7. So you could leave the 2 as dominant as minus 7th, or you can make it a dominant 7 to create the secondary dominant of the 5, 5 of the 5, okay? If you guys are unsure about the secondary dominant, check out in the link in the description a few resources that I already put, which will help you understanding the theory. There are also a few resources about the pentatonic scales if you want to learn how to improvise over these blues progressions. And if you want to find out more about chord substitutions, you need to check out the episode 19, last week's live streaming of this series, where I went over all of the possible chord substitutions that you find in music. Okay, so if we stick to this chord progression, the 12 bars that you find in a jazz blues in B flat will be B flat 7, E flat 7, B flat 7, F minus 7, B flat 7, E flat 7, E diminished 7th, B flat 7 over F, G7, B flat, C minus 7, F7, and now B flat 7, G7, C minus 7, F7, and back to B flat 7. Okay. Now, clearly, if you play something jazzy, you want to maybe play some walking bass, some percussions, chromatism. That could be a way of playing the rhythm of the jazz blues in B flat. I used a few chromatisms, walking bass lines, triton substitutions. They're all things that are part of this genre, part of this as a vocabulary, really, as a language that you learn, guys. Okay, but it's important that you understand the harmony first. The 12 bars that you find, the degrees that you find, the chords that you find. This is the most common progression that you find in a jazz blues. And when people talk about jazz blues, this is the structure that you should know on guitar. But obviously, bear in mind, you could find more chord substitutions, so there might be even more, possible chords that you find in this structure. Okay, but that's the third and final structure that we needed for tonight's live stream. Now we need to introduce what rhythms you can actually use to play these chord structures, the major blues, the jazz blues, or the minor blues. Now, the most common by far is the shuffle blues, and we try now to understand the difference between shuffle blues or shuffle feel and straight feel or even eights. I also made a video about it. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'll make a note now so that I can add this to the resources that I already put to this. So that's for the shuffle feel. Now, basically, guys, the shuffle means that you count something like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and straight instead means 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, it's just two different feels. Now, the shuffle blues, especially in the Texas version, it's the most common way of playing the blues rhythm on guitar, usually using power chords and then a little game with the sixth of the chord. This is a very simple way, or sixth and seventh. Obviously, this could be even more difficult. It could go like. If you play something like that, it's more in the style of players like Stevie Wonder, and I guess that most of you already recognize, this kind of rhythm that you can play in a shuffle feel. If you play something straight, an example that I want to give you instead would be Johnny B. Good, okay, by Chuck Berry, because that's definitely something that you play like very straight and very fast, typical of rock and roll. The rock and roll is in even eights or straight feel, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And it's usually a simpler structure, especially in the turnaround. It's usually just a 5-1. That's a 5 for 2 bars, and then a 1, okay, for 2 bars. There might be an anticipation on the 4 with the accent, like I'm playing now, 2 and 3 and 4, and on the 4 end, and that's typical of rock and roll or straight feel blues, as opposed to the shuffle blues. That's for the rhythm, guys. Another way of playing it is in 12/8 or triplet feel. And 12/8 means that you still have 4 beats per bar, like in the 4/4, but you have a triplet, hence the triplet feel, in each beat. And that generates a different time signature, which is 12/8. Okay. Now, if I play a slow blues, that's how it's called. It's the slow blues in 12/8. Every time you find slow blues in a backing track in a song, that means it's in 12/8. It has this triplet feel that makes the 12 bars pretty long, hence the slow word. And if I play a slow blues in 12/8 in the key of C, for example, that would be like 1, 2, 3. You know, that kind of feel. Now, if you count 4 bars of the first degree, okay, that's a C, for example, for in triplets, for 4 bars, that would be really long. It would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 1 bar. Second bar, usually you count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 twice. Third. Fourth bar. And it could be even slower than this, to be fair. Then fourth degree for 2 bars. And back to the first degree for 2 bars. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you finally go to the 5th degree. Sorry. Maybe a chromatism to the 4th degree. Back to the 1st degree. 5th degree again. And guys, this is only 12 bars. So I've only played once the 12 bar form, the 12 bar structure, basically the chorus of this blues. And that's why it's called the slow blues. But what it really matters is this feel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The triplet is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Or you could find a subdivision in 16th notes, and that's typical of the funky blues. Now, the funky blues in 16ths, it's just a different way of counting it. Once you have it in 16th notes, that could be straight, you know, like 1 E and a 3 E. And it's basically what you find, guys, every time you play something in 16ths, very funky with the classic major chord progression. So this was a major blues with a subdivision, straight feel in 16ths. That's funky, okay? Or you could find this in a shuffle feel where the 16th notes are paired into the shuffle feel. So this applies as 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 4 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 1. You know, where basically you have not a straight feel 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2, but you actually have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a that's like the train, okay? Hey Romulo, how you doing? How the minor blues goes in terms of chord sequence? Great. So yeah, that's what you can find in the funk rhythm, but also you could find this kind of rhythm applied to a minor blues structure, the one that we learned before. And that was the example that I was doing at the beginning about Long Train Running by the Doobie Brothers, right? This is definitely funky. It's definitely straight feel, but it's G minor for 4 bars, then C minor for 2 bars, G minor for another 2 bars, and then there is a turnaround. This turnaround follows the first of the turnarounds that we saw in the minor blues structure with the 6th degree, the 5th, and then going back to the 1st degree. But the 6th degree, instead of being a major 7th chord, it's actually a dominant 7th chord, okay, like an E flat 7 instead of an E flat major 7. The reason for it is a little bit complicated, but I want to tell you in case you guys are comfortable with concepts like the secondary dominance and the tritone substitutions. Basically, how does it work? It works like you are heading to a D7, which is the 5th degree. You could go there with the secondary dominant, which is A7, but instead of going there with the A7, you replace the A7 with the tritone substitution, which is E flat 7. That's just to say that instead of having E flat major 7 going to D7 and then G minus 7, or A7 going to D7 and then G minus 7, you actually have E flat 7, D7, G minor, and the way it's played in a funky way in 16th notes, straight feel, it's going to be 1st degree, 4th degree, 1st degree, turn around, that's 12 bars of a minor blues in G minor. Okay, the turnaround in this specific song moves the bass first and then the rest of the chord, generating this kind of a dissonance, I guess. Okay, but the chords are the ones that I said before: E flat 7, D7, back to G minus 7. Okay, so this is just to say that when we talk about funky blues, we say any kind of blues which is following the 12 bars of any of the structures we said before, minor or major, it doesn't matter, and it can be played with straight feel 16th notes or shuffle feel 16th notes. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Let me know, guys, in the comments if you have any questions about it. And now I just want to explain one final brief concept about the fake blues. What is a fake blues? Now, to me, I call fake blues anything which follows a very similar structure, but it either doesn't have 12 bars in the structure, maybe has 16 bars, like many popular pop and rock songs, or it doesn't have all of the chords that you find normally in a blues structure. This is less common. Like the most common example, listen to a song by Duffy, which is called Mercy. Okay, and na 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 Mercy. Okay, I can't play any song in these live streaming because we are on YouTube and there is an issue with copyright. But check out the song Mercy by Duffy, and you will see that that is basically a G blues, but it's not really a G blues, and that's where I came up with fake blues, because it actually has 16 bars instead of 12. It's kind of like you go like 1st degree for 4 bars. I think it's in the key of G. Then 4th degree for 2 bars. Back to the 1st degree for 2 bars. Then turn around, 5, 4, and 1. But then again, another turn around, 5, 4, and then 1, then 5. You know, and you keep going and alternate, you know, this 16-bar structure with a classic 12-bar blues structure. So you can't really say that this is a blues. It's a bluesy song, but it has a strong bluesy vibe, but it's not following the 12 bars, so we can't strictly say that this is a blues song. Okay, so keep in mind, guys, that the number one thing that we said at the beginning of this live streaming is that it must have 12 bars to be a blues. Okay, this is all I wanted to say about the blues for tonight and for this live streaming. It's really just, you know, a small introduction to the world of blues, but hopefully you can grab the most important concepts about the forms, about the chord progressions, the chord substitutions that you can find in some variations, and the rhythm that you can apply to the blues. Obviously, each of them would deserve a full lesson about it and lots of examples from actual music. Okay. Let me know, guys, if you have any other questions. I'll stay for a few more minutes here in the live streaming. I want to go over the comments that I got and a few questions. And again, make sure to check out the resources that I will leave with a few links in the description below and a few more that I will add later. As always, for any other live streaming that I do of this series, I will add at the end of the live streaming the chapters or timestamps that will help you in case you want to watch again some parts of this live streaming. And it's the same for the other concepts. So if you guys feel like you need a review of the harmonization of the minor scale, or how the major seventh chords work, or the secondary dominant substitution, you find everything in the previous episodes. Let me say, first of all, a big thank you for checking out this music theory for guitarists live streaming. I had a big support from you, and I'm really happy about it, because when this started 20 weeks ago, in the middle of lockdown, I really didn't think about receiving such big support and interest in music theory for guitarists. And it started as something like, let's go over a few important topics for guitarists from a theory point of view. And then it went into, let's make an actual full music theory course at the end of the day, okay? And this is the 20th and final class of it. And I wanted to finish with something about blues. But, you know, feel free to go back and watch the episodes that you might have missed, or just the topics that you really care about, the ones that you feel you need the most in your daily practice, or trying to understand the theory or the keys of the songs that you play. It's everything in there. It literally started with, we got a guitar, we know the names of the open strings, let's find out quick ways to understand the names of the notes on the fretboard. And then it went into scales, into chords, into chord progressions, harmonizations, keys, chord substitutions, and, you know, all of the topics that we talked about. Okay, so I really want to thank you very much for checking out this live streaming music series. There will be more live streamings coming up very soon, and more topics that we will check out together. So stay tuned, of course. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. You'll get a notification about half an hour before I'm going live, and also anytime my videos are up. My latest video was up on Tuesday, and it's about funk guitar, a trick that you find in Bruno Mars and in Prince music. So what do they have in common? You can find it out in the video that I released last Tuesday. Okay. I don't know if Stalwart Voyager is still around. The question, how long have you been playing guitar, broken? I know how long we should spend daily on guitar, though I'm just beginner, that I just want to know. Sorry for my English. Well, that really is up to you. It very much depends, guys, on how much time you have on a daily basis. I usually say that it doesn't matter if you play for 3 hours once a week. It's more a matter of having your head and your hands on the guitar on a daily basis. So even if you guys are really busy with work, family, or whatever, and you can only spend 15 minutes on guitar every day, 15 minutes every day really help massively. So make sure to do like a daily practice on guitar. It could be anything from improvisation to theory to chord knowledge or scales, technique, anything you feel you need. Make sure that you try to explore as many genres, styles you can, because the nuances are really there in knowing many styles. And the beauty of music is knowing many styles and playing different styles. So yeah, I can't really tell you how long you should spend on there, but it depends very much on your time available and on your goals. But I would say, you know, if you have those 15-20 minutes per day to get started, that's a great thing if you're a beginner. And I've been playing guitar for over 20 years. Yeah. So thanks, Ronnie, for your comment. Thanks, Leo, for your comment. Great funk progression. Thanks. That's really important. Your feedback, and thanks for checking out most of these live streamings. I remember you being here most of the Fridays that I spent here on YouTube. Romulo, my friend, how I was trying to remember. Yeah, I'm glad that you still remember all of these things, and yeah, make sure that you play them, especially Long Trail Running, okay, by the Doobie Brothers, which is great. The minor blues is one of my favorite form of blues, by the way. Hamza say, how about you telling us about the unique tuning of guitar and how to relate intervals from string to string and transpose chord shapes from one string to set to another. These are all things, man, that I covered in this music theory for guitarists live streamings. You find all of the things that you are asking for are in the previous episodes. And specifically, you are saying about unique tuning of guitar, there is an entire chapter in one of the first few live streamings. I guess it's going to be either the episode 3 or 4 of this series. I'll leave the links in the description below and you find the full playlist. If you click on them, you will find the chapters. And one of the chapters is how the intervals on the tuning work. And all of the intervals are things that I talked about in various episodes. And how to move chord shapes is something that I covered as well through a system called the caged system. And so check them out, because you find basically all of the topics that you are interested in those episodes. It's between the episodes 3 and 7, I would say, because then the things became a little bit more advanced. Leo, thank you for filling many gaps on theory emphasized on guitar and its sound possibilities. There's a lot to review from previous episodes and I'm still getting my fingers on. Thanks very much for your feedback, Leo. And you perfectly got what is the point of these live streaming, guys, which is giving you enough resources. And then we all need a break from this, okay? Because you need to go back and rewatch the episodes that you feel you still need to nail. Take some notes, take questions. You can leave questions in the comments. I get notifications most of the time, so I'll be able to reply to all of you. And then go back to the chapters that you really want to nail and learn them, practice them with me. Watch the episodes over and over, post them, practice that thing, get back to it, take some notes. That's how this music theory for guitarists course should work, okay? You'll be massive impact from what you share. Oh, thanks so much. That's really important, and that's the reason why I do all this. So guys, if this is all, yeah, it's been a pleasure and it's been a lot of fun doing this music theory course on a weekly basis for 20 weeks. I really didn't think it would have lasted so long when I started, and who knows what the next live streamings and the next videos will be about. So make sure to subscribe, like this video, share it if you know other people that might be interested in knowing more about music theory. And yeah, ring the bell for the notifications. That's really important, because next time I'll be live, you'll be notified about half an hour before, okay? Thanks a lot for your support, guys. Enjoy your evening, and I'll be seeing you all very soon.